Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of chess content that you can consume on YouTube. Most of it will tell you how to play chess the right way. It will tell you how to play in the opening, middle game, end game, whatever it might be, and that'll make you a better player. But I've got a playlist on my channel called How to Lose at Chess, and it's usually viewer game submissions that are absolutely catastrophic. Now, today's game is absolutely fascinating because it looked like for the majority of the game that the person who sent it in was playing against a cheater. And that's all I'm going to say for now. And we're going to take a look at this game. So our protagonist is Alexander from Australia. He's been given an honorary Grandmaster title despite only being 1,000 rated. And he's a kangaroo because obvious reasons. White is from Sweden, and white is Swedish meatballs, which are also very tasty. Now, this game was fascinating because in 1,000 level chess, okay, some of you are 1,000, some of you 1,500, some of you like 200, some of you don't even play chess, but 1,000 is right at that level when you just got all the basics down and you're good enough to understand just how bad you are, and you can play games that are spectacular. You can also play games that are horrible. So white plays bishop c4. Now, this opening is the Caro-Kann defense. For those that don't know, black is trying to go d5. Now, generally, when you play with the white pieces, if you can take the center with 2 pawns, you should take the center with 2 pawns, because it's just a good thing in chess. You also should not develop your bishops before you develop your knights, because your knights are less flexible. You know that your knights are going to be moving into the center of the board, but okay, bishop moves out d5. But now, after this trade, white needs to move the bishop again. That's a waste of time. You really shouldn't be doing that. And now, after check, black gets very natural development with knight c6, and actually, as you can see according to the computer's already arguing that black is an advantage. Let me tell you right now, it is an accomplishment to have a worse position in 4 moves in chess, okay? So, knight f3. Now, what I would have loved to see here from black is, again, developing the knights, developing the bishop, developing the pawn, and then etc. A lot of 1,000 level players have tunnel vision, okay? So, a6. All right, my sub, my viewer, Alex, he saw the bishop. He was like, I'm going to attack it. Bishop moved back. He's like, I saw the bishop. I'm going to attack it. Now, it's not bad as long as now he goes back to normal development. He's got to take the center, develop his knights. Okay, a lot of us do this. We get tunnel vision. Now, taking the center like this is fine, but I do want you to be careful. When you push too many pawns out like this in the opening and they don't have good support, your opponents might start attacking them, or attacking them, or attacking them. And you gotta be really careful trading all these pieces while your king is still in the center. But that's a little bit too high level. Castles, knight f6, and black is just doing very well. I like black's position. What white should do now is white should attack the center with the move d4. But white plays the move c3 first, which is obviously, it seems like, preparing this move, I guess. And now, Alex plays an excellent move. Now, we are not at the part of the game yet where I was like, oh my god, what is white doing? Like, throughout this game, I was sitting there just absolutely blown away at the level that white was displaying. I mean, white was playing really high-level moves. Now, knight d4, okay, white is like slightly worse from the opening, but it's nothing terrible. White is slightly worse because if black makes this trade, these pawns are doubled, isolated, and frozen. Like, they're blocking each other. So black would be able to get quick play. But again, if you don't see that the computer says this, it's tough to evaluate that black is better here. Especially because black goes here, now we have take, take. And a very smart move here by white. Already the really good decisions begin by white. d3. The simple pawn trade to activate the queen, get the bishop out, the computer undoes my move, servers, queen takes d3 and so on. d3 is a very sophisticated move. I love black keeping the tension here. Keeping the tension. You can take my pawn. All right, go ahead. You take my pawn. I'm going to take it with the pawn or the knight. I'm all good. And I got this on the way. I got this on the way, right? So now white plays rook e1. Another decent move, pinning the knight to the king, and black castles. High-level chess being displayed by these two 1000s. All right, now white took a look at the position and probably went, all right, well, that knight in the center is very menacing, so I'm going to go knight d2. Now, knight d2 loses the game, but it's extremely hard to understand why. And knight d2 is going to be considered a blunder, but not at the 1000 level. It's a blunder because in this position, black can sacrifice the knight. And the point is that if king takes, now there's like various checks on the king, and, you know, black can get this, and maybe black gets bishop c5 threatening mate, and it's just a very unpleasant position. But that's, I mean, that's hard. Like, white is stopping mate. Like, I don't even understand, right? But the computer shows an advantage. So knight d2 is played. Black has various knight f2, bishop h2, a2. Okay, black plays a5. I mean, black is a human. Black's not an AI. So we have this, and now another excellent move by white, which is bishop to c2. All right? Again, computer is saying it's not a good move because of a4. No human on earth plays a4 here at this level. The point is that white is threatening bishop takes pawn. But the thing is, white is actually not threatening bishop takes pawn, because after takes, the queen loses a defender, and you should always look for checks. That is something called a discovered attack. And now queen takes queen on the very next move, because white just cannot deal with everything. But black plays rook e8, and now another excellent move by white, queen g4. Activating the queen, targets the pawn in front of the king, and is in fact threatening to take that pawn now with the bishop. Also bishop h6, also bishop g5, also the rook is coming. I mean, white is playing really well. Now, black plays bishop d7. I don't like that move because while it does attack the queen, after queen h5, this pawn is very much delicate. Now black gets tunnel vision again, just like he did on the other side of the board. He got tunnel vision and decided to start pushing a bunch of pawns, okay? Now g6 is played. And queen h6, so the queen has snuck into the position. Now black plays f5. So as you see, this is a game between two guys. One of them loves pushing his pawns, the guy with black. Guy with white has moved one pawn, which honestly is better. And there are very quick ways to lose this game. For instance, bishop b3 checks the king. Let's say the king goes to the corner. Now we have bishop g5. Let's say the queen moves. Bishop f6 is literally checkmate. So you gotta be really careful and really sure when you push pawns in front of your king, you're not letting in a massive attack, okay? So f5 played, bishop g5, and now a very high-level move here by Alexander. Very high level. He is a Gotham subscriber. He doesn't just move the queen out of the way. He was definitely worried about various checkmating attacks. Danger levels. Your queen is hanging, but you do not have to move it if what? You can create equal or exceeding danger. Bishop f8. And now this queen is hanging. If you take that queen, I take your queen. Now, what you should do beyond that is you should calculate, can my bishop take anything after it takes your queen? The answer is no, it cannot take this pawn. But if there was a rook here, that would be a stupid idea by black, because I would take the rook on the next move. So, bishop f8. Now, white doesn't have to take the queen. White could back up, but white does this. Black does this. Bishop f6. And now rook e6. Okay? Rook e6 is a mistake. Rook e6 is a mistake because while it does attack the bishop, it gets the rook on the same exact diagonal as the king. And you have to be careful. And this is only a problem because you pushed your pawns. If the pawn had been back, your king would have been safer. Now bishop b3. Danger levels. You can't take my bishop. Boom, boom. Right? Now, white doesn't see that on this move, but white does see that on the next move, and black is in serious trouble. So when you are about to lose material in a chess game, like black is right now, you've got to think, all right, well, what can I get for this material that's not going to absolutely devastate my position, okay? That's the way you need to think about things. What I would do here with black is I would bring my king, and I would try to unpin, and then just give up the rook. What I would not do with black is I would not try to counterattack and then lock my bishop into the position. Black lets the second blunder decide the game. Very common. Sometimes it's very difficult to adjust after one blunder, and you make a second one and a third one and you lose. You gotta just deal with the consequences right now. Play a move like a4 or king f7, lose your rook, but the game goes on. It's just rook for bishop. Instead of that, black goes bishop to d2. And my dear subscriber plays this move just thinking that the bishop is defended. It ain't. A very nice move by white, not rushing, taking this rook, because now black's overreaction has caused them to lose a bishop too. You cannot get out because neither of your rooks can move because they're pinned. The first rook is pinned. So just rook e3 here would win the game for white, which is crazy. So rook e2, e3 takes, and now black is going to not just lose a rook, they're also going to lose a bishop, and that is exactly what happens. And now white is completely winning, all right? We have made it, we've made it to the stage of the game where the game is, you know, just simply over. Now, there is some hope here, okay? If you want to make a comeback here with black, you can do it in a few ways. Number one, flag your opponent. In a blitz game, yes, but right now white's got 7 minutes, probably not going to happen. Number two, safeguard your king. That's the most important thing, and a safety measure has to come first. If the black king is not on the back rank where he can get ladder mated, and instead comes out like, let's say over here, like this, that's not possible right now, but I'm just saying, if you can safeguard your king, you can prolong the game, and then you're gonna have to use what you have. Maybe you use a bit of counterplay. Maybe you get this rook to the second rank with the bishop. That's the way you gotta think about it. What can you use to create counterplay? I got news for you. White is not gonna let it happen. White plays b3, which is yet again, and do you know how many people here would move one of their rooks or bishops? b3 is an amazing move. What you're doing with this move is you're guaranteeing an opening of the position, either that way or this way. And now white's other rook is gonna go in. This is incredible technique from a 1000. Amazing. Bishop b7, rook b6. I was like, oh my god, this is like my poor sub is facing a guy, you know, using mittens to beat him. Rook b6. Bishop d5. Now, what I would do, yes, you can take the pawn, and that is exactly what he does. But what I would do now is I would get my second rook in and just go for the king. Again, the king is on the last rank, and the whole 7th rank is open. So that's the easiest way to win. Now, this is a full winning of a bishop. I mean, it does not get any better than this. He spotted this in 4 seconds. I mean, really, it's just, this is demolition, all right? Absolute demolition. Rook a2, rook a7, rook c8, also there. But he's just not letting any comeback happen. This is textbook. And now just b4, b5, b6. But you might be wondering, Levy, this is one of your low-rated games, right? Where's the comeback? That's the beauty of these things. That's the beauty of these videos. Just when you think it's completely not there anymore, that's when the comeback begins. So black decides that his king is going to go out on his shield, or his sword, rather. He's going to run to the center of the board, and it's over. C4 is mate in 1. C4 is checkmate in 1 move. Now, for reasons I cannot fully explain to you, I think at this point I started realizing, oh, I see, there's going to be a plot twist in this game. I don't actually think white is cheating. I think white just played a really, really nice game. So, white instead plays b4. Now, that is incredible because white spent 7 seconds on that move, and if white's eyes had just looked at the pawn right adjacent, that would have just been mate, by accident probably. They would have been like, oh, it's check. Oh, never mind. So b4. Now, obviously, white is trying to make a queen, but don't forget, you don't need to make a queen in this endgame. You could just win by checkmate. You can trade the rooks. You could make a queen, absolutely. That is certainly a way to win. Check here. Now, what you should do is to get rid of the blockade. You should play rook c5 check. Okay, that. Yeah, see, white is mixing plans. White is sort of going a little bit like kid in an arcade, doesn't exactly know what to play, tries to play everything. You don't need to win all the pawns. In fact, if you win all of your opponent's pawns, that can prolong the game. You can get unnecessarily low on time. Not to mention that in the future, you got to be sure you're going to checkmate them. Okay, so fine, white is going to go rook g7, rook g4, try to win the pawn. Now white is back to checking, but again, white is playing without their rook. White was playing quite well for a little bit, but now white is stopping playing well. Rook b7, king a6. Oh, this is perfect. The king is on the edge of the board, which means just play rook b8 and rook a2. Just pin the king on the edge of the board and win the game. I mean, it was mate in 2 with rook b6, but fine. White plays rook b6. It's mate. I mean, the second opportunity to mate the opponent in 1 move. Instead, we have this. Let me tell you something right now. That is disgusting and despicable. The fact that the rook can move anywhere and it would be check, and you don't take the pawn, is disturbing. Not to mention that you have mate after that, but this is just a free rook. Okay, king h2, h4. Rook a2 is mate again. Rook a2 is mate again. This is 3 mates in 1. I no longer think that this individual is playing illegitimately. I was absolutely floored by their technique prior. White plays bishop e5. All right, white gets tunnel vision, sees this. That rook is now capturable. Instead, black plays rook takes e3 because black wanted to save the rook. It is now mate in 1 for a 4th time. But now white spots rook takes g6. Now white plays rook takes g6 check. And is like, ooh, discovered check. Yes, and remember, this is tunnel vision at the 1000 level. You have made in one on the board multiple times, but you really want a rook, okay? You're like a child in a store, and your parent is not letting you get the sugary cereal, all right? Like my parents. And you freak out. You're like, I really want the sugary cereal. Okay, now I'm happy. Okay, fine. White missed 4 checkmates in one. No problem, just the average typical 1000 game where you play at 90% accuracy and then you miss 4 checkmates in one. But now the game is over because, quite simply, you will get the king out like this. And the easiest way to win this position, this is always tricky. When a king can dance around your pawns, it's kind of annoying. It's tough to figure that out. So what you could do is you could actually lose the pawns. This is actually one of the easiest techniques, is to get your opponent to take some of your pieces. Because actually, visually speaking, this position is easier to win. I mean, you might think it's crazy, but think about it. If you get a queen, it's just ladder mate, right? But when you have this thing, it's like ring around the rosy. I mean, the king's just going to dance around, and you got to be really, really accurate. All right, it's tough. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Now, white doesn't do that. Instead, white goes for the queen, which makes sense. If anything, I would make a queen with this pawn to remove this ring around the rosy situation. And we've now made it to the end of the road. And of course, after, you know, all this hard work, white promoted the queen, gave a check, and went forward with their second pawn and delivered a stalemate, up 28 points of material.